there's been this recent kerfluffle about trinket trading, and the trinket traders didn't understand why people were upset that they were coming in, trading items amongst each other that were also items that vendors had for sale in the park. Good morning, my darlings. I'm in Atlanta, just came to visit the Georgia Festival this past weekend, and I want to explain, so there's this ecosystem in permanent Renaissance Festival parks, and I know that people outside the industry don't understand it. So vendors build their shops and they maintain their shops to the parameters that the festival sets. And then they also pay a fee to the show, whether if they're a service, they're going to pay a percentage, or if it's a show some shows are percentage fee shows, or it's a frontage foot rule, like you've got 20 feet of frontage, we're going to charge you $50 a frontage foot. Anyway, their fees go to paying entertainment and advertising. Their booths have created the park. The festival themselves, the landowners, they're paying property taxes, insuring the place. They build the front gate, they build the stages, they build any infrastructure behind that, get the electricity where it needs to be, get plumbing where it needs to be, get phone lines and hopefully cell towers where they need to be. But the reason that vendors are willing to build on somebody else's land is that the ecosystem is that that's what you have to do to sell in that space. And so I'm going to invest in a building. I'm going to get a space to sell my stuff for however long I want to be doing that show. And then my building is an asset that I get to sell to another approved vendor. And the reason that I can sell it for a good amount of money is because that's how you have to work to get into the space. And the show is bringing in qualified customers. I mean, these are people that can spend $30 to go to an event for one day. These are people that are into the theme of Renaissance festivals. And if you're vending in one, you're selling something that fits and appeals to that audience. So if we look at I as a vendor don't have to work on advertising. I have a social media presence. I'm talking about my whatever widget it is I'm selling, but the real advertising of getting bodies in front of my shop, the festival takes care of that. And we help when we can. Sometimes there'll be a promotion. I'll be, hey, can you help with this promo? Because, it's Mother's Day and you're hair braiders, and that means we're gonna have a highly ratioed female audience and people wanting to buy stuff for their moms and grandmas. Do you think you might give away a braid or two, or do a braid on a morning show so that we can do a Mother's Day promo? You do that kind of stuff. And often entertainers will have it in their contract that they have to do a certain number of promos for a show. So, and entertainers have their own ecosystem. Some of those, they'll negotiate their lodging as part of their fees for the show, but that's another conversation. But we learned when there's been this recent kerfluffle about trinket trading, and the trinket traders didn't understand why people were upset that they were coming in, trading items amongst each other that were also items that vendors had for sale in the park, or there were people that were, say, a soap maker, and her trinket was soap samples with her business card attached. There's a soap vendor that built a shop in this park. So there were some steamy conversations, and the traders were just like, I don't understand why you guys are so huffy about this. It's not my fault that you rely on a $3 item to make your bank. Well, there's plenty of us in the park that have something like, maybe I have I'm a sculptress and I have a $5,000 end table with beautiful koi swimming underneath it that I've sculpted out of copper and bronze. But I actually pay my bills selling copper roses, because you don't sell a $5,000 table every weekend. You might be lucky to sell that $5,000 table in a show. You pay the bills with the small things. So Trinket Traders were all up in arms because rules were being set for what they could and couldn't do. And in their minds, they'd been doing it forever, whereas in the industry arc, it's a relatively new phenomenon that's popped up. And trinkets used to be like some kind of little pin or something that you'd add to your costume that related to the character that people knew you as at a fair. And then it just kept evolving. You know, like they had somebody making salsa. It's like, you can't be somebody that likes making salsa and come in here and hand people salsa to put on their turkey leg without carrying liability insurance. So what I realized was that people didn't understand the structure. Like, they're like, it's not our fault you built at a show. No, but you're enjoying the park. You came to this park because you love the environment that was created. And you love the environment that's created because the vendors created that environment. So the vendors' fees pay the entertainers. The entertainers are paid by the festival. So vendors pay the park pays the entertainers. And the vendors, by being protected, by having their market protected, they are encouraged to keep their booths up. They're encouraged to build in the first place at a show, because it's like, hey, there's good traffic. This show's in an upswing. There's a lot of good stuff going on. There's good money to be made here. That's the show you're going to build at. A show that lets people come in and hand out business cards with your product in front of your booth. The word gets out pretty fast. These guys are not doing a great job of protecting their vendors. So I will say that there was an announcement made last week. It's like, you cannot hand out business cards with your trinkets. But people are wearing pins that say Trinket Traders, and sometimes like walking up into the middle of a sales process and swapping trinkets with another trinket trader and interrupting commerce that's happening in the park, and just like oblivious to the fact that they're interrupting the ecosystem that has made permanent park Renaissance festivals possible. So that's, I'm sure that this just popped up other questions about how permanent parks work. So feel free to ask me and I will answer all that I can. Thanks.